Hey everybody, this is Scott Sharp with Fretboard Toolbox, and today we're going to look at chord progressions in the key of G major. So one of my big frustrations learning to play was I didn't understand the way that different chords went together, and that people could figure out so many songs so quickly because they knew what chords fit within a certain key. So we're going to look at chord progressions in the key of G major and learn what going from a 1 chord to a 4 chord to a 5 chord means, and things like that, what a 2 chord is and a 3 chord, and then what are some ways you can arrange those chords to get some cool sounds. So for the lesson today, we'll be using some tab that you can print off for free on the Fretboard Toolbox website under Mandolin, or under the videos, tabs, and more link, and you click on Mandolin, and then you can print off some Mandolin G major chord progressions file. And then we'll also be using the G major and E minor page of a Fretboard Toolbox original Mandolin edition. So if you don't already have your own original Mandolin edition, you can print off the G major and E minor page for free at that same tab on the website or under the free toolboxes link. So by the end of this lesson, hopefully you'll be able to have a little better idea of how chords go together, and then be able to have something that could help your playing. I'm not an expert mandolin player, but I understand how chords go together, and that can be a powerful thing. Thanks for taking a look. Alright, today we're looking at some G major chord progressions, and we know we're in the key of G major, not just because it tells us up here, but because we've got 1 sharp. And at the table of contents of the toolbox, you can always check and see, based on how many sharps or flats there are, what key you're playing in. So this lesson's in the key of G major, and we're just going to look at some chord progressions. So this first progression is called a 1-5-1, and part of the reason I made toolboxes was because I didn't know what people were talking about when they're talking about 1 chords or 4 chords or 5 chords, and I wasn't ever listening for those intervals. And before I started listening for the intervals, I couldn't figure out songs very well on my own. But once I started figuring out that certain chords go together in certain keys, it really kind of opened up my understanding of music and my ability to figure stuff out, which was fun. So the first progression we're going to look at, we're going to play through the progressions on this some G major chord progressions box here. So a 1-5-1, a 1-4-5, etc. If you don't have your own Fretboard Toolbox, you can get a free table of contents and 5 other pages, including the key of G major and E minor page, so you could print that off to follow with the lesson. But we're going to look at a GDG progression. So GDG, we need the notes G, B, and D, D, F sharp, and A, and then G, B, and D. And if you don't know about building chords, check out my chord building chords in G major video to see if that helps you follow this a little bit easier. But we're going to play G major, D major, G major here. So to do that, this 1-5-1, we're going to go open, open, 2, 3. We'll do 2 of those, 2 D majors here, 2 open, open, 2, and then 1 G major again. So this is the sound of going from a 1 chord to a 5 chord to a 1 chord. Okay, we got 1, 5, 1. On a piano, that would be just playing the notes G, B, D, and then D, F sharp, A. So if we want to play a 1-4-5, and listen for that 1-5 a lot, you're going to hear that sound of going G to D or 1 to the 5 chord a lot. The second progression is a super common one, 1-4-5-1. So we're going to go G major, C major, D major, G major. And listen for the intervals there. Listen for the sounds of the 1-4-5. So we're going to go G major. So we're going to go G major, G major, C major, C major, D major, D major, G major. Super common progression. Another common way to arrange those chords is a 1-5-4 progression, G, D, C, G, and on the Mando that would look like this. G, D, C. So listen for that sound of 1, 5, 4, 5, 4. So if you can start listening for those chord intervals and what chords am I playing, then it's really cool, because if you can see like that a 1-4-5 progression in G major is G major, C major, D major. That's 1-4-5. The major numbers are in bold italic or bold Roman numerals here, and the minor scale, the relative minor scales, are all in italics. So I want to play 1-4-5 in G. It's G major, C major, D major. But with the toolbox, I can see that in every key. So if I wanted to play that in C, a 1-4-5 is going to be C major, F major, G major. And it'll still have a real similar sound. Here's it on the mando. Here it is on the mando. So C, F, G, C. So C, F, G, C. If I wanted to play it in, let's say D flat, I'm going to play D flat major, G flat major, A flat major, and then back to D flat major. So when I can see what the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chords are in every key, I can start switching the key or transposing real easily. So the next one we can look at is 1, 6, 4, 5. So here we're going to go G major, E minor, C major, D major. And listen to when we get to that minor chord, it's going to have a sad sound. So here we're going 1, 6, 4, 5. Okay, so we'll do that slowly here. G major, 1, E minor, 6, C major, 4, D major, 5, 1, 6, 4, 5, 1. That's a progression you hear all the time. It's got a really cool sound. And that minor chord, you had the G major, happy sound, minor chord, sad sound, C major, happy, D major. So major chords have happy sounds, minor chords, sad sounds. E minor, that's A minor, B minor, E minor, back to G major. Okay, we'll look at a couple more real quick here. This is a 1, 6, 2, 5. Okay, so G major, E minor, A minor, D major, back to G major. So if we did that slowly, we would go like this. G major, E minor, A minor, D major. Okay, so that's the sound of a 1, 6, 2, 5. Listen how that 5 chord, you can't just leave it there. It just wants to come back to that G. 1, 4, 5. Can you feel that tension? Back to the 1. And then there's another progression here, but we're running out of time. We're running long on time. A last one here, so you can play this one if you'd like, hear what that sounds like. Last one here, we got D major, C major, G major, which is going to sound like this, kind of a descending chord pattern that's used quite a bit, and it's pretty cool. So 5, 4, 1, 5, 4, 1. So if you can start listening for those intervals, I promise you it'll be well worth your time. It takes some time to start understanding which chords go together and which chords belong in the key. But when you can start thinking about what you're playing in terms of what key am I in and what number chord am I using, then you can really start to figure out a whole bunch of things and play stuff in different keys and just kind of have a blast. So we did today all these G major chord progressions. I'll do a later video showing more G major chord progressions that are going to have some italicized chords, which means they're outside of the key technically. Like playing an F major is outside of the key, or playing an A major instead of A minor is outside of the key. So we'll look at some different chord progressions then, but in the meantime, I hope you found something interesting here, and I appreciate you taking a look, and we'll have lots more videos coming. Thanks again.